Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's been a wee while, so I am late to introduce you to my newest edition, my Mondeo Mark V. Now I'm putting a fly one here. I've actually already done the repair I'm going to do to this car today. I was going to show you around about it, but I have had issues since I bought the car. I did a deal with my Range Rover and ended up with this. I gave my Range Rover in cash for this. I think it's okay. It's got problems galore. When you're driving, the alerts come up for the ESC service, and then you get a handbrake malfunction. Now I've searched all the forums, left, right and centre, and they all come back with the same problems as being the ABS sensors on the cables. Now I'm hoping, like everybody else, it's just a matter of replacing this cable. I've already done the repair, so you'll see me doing it in a second. But yeah, this is literally the cable that needs replaced. It does come with a new bracket that attaches on to the drop link. So it's literally this £35 a piece cable, both sides, from Ford. Seems to be the cheapest, and at least you're using a normal standard Ford part. Dead simple to take out, bar a red clip on it. So if you want to, with this video, you don't want to see it further on, at least you can stop here and I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with it. But it is this cable here. There's a red clip that goes into this section here at the front. Now it is a nightmare to come out, and even so much so that side there was someone's already been attacking it, and it didn't have the red clip in it. It was just bust. So I've actually had to clean it all up and tape it all up and make sure everything's solid before, and make sure no water can get into it. So all you'll need is like a picker or a small screwdriver, a thin screwdriver, just to literally lever that out. You need a wee bit of brute force niggerings to pull the rubbers out the two brackets. One sits at the back against the chassis leg, and the other one sits up against the drop link on the drop link bracket. It's purely for this, it's not actually for the drop link. And then obviously you've got your insert that goes into the hub to stop the cable from stretching, and then you've actually got the sensor itself that's into the hub with an 8mm bolt. So the main tools you really need, your jacks, axle stands, your wheel brace and stuff like that, is an 8mm ratchet spanner, or I used obviously the ratchet set itself with a long nose on it, with a long reach, and obviously the pick just to pick it all up. It literally was, you'll see it yourself, you'd be lucky it was 5-10 minutes aside. I probably took a bit longer because I was talking during the video, but I'll be putting up pictures of what I'm getting on the dashboard on this. To just so that anyone that's watching on the Mark V's and have this problem, I will tag it all in. That this seems to be your fix for it. I will, at the end of the video, I will take the car drive, and I'll let you know if it did fix it. I will also keep you updated if that is definite. So let's just watch how I got on in fixing this. It didn't go too bad, bar that red clip. Now this looks fairly easy to do. Luckily enough, when I open up the bag there, this is a ABS sensor cable here, right the way up here with the bracket, right to the back, and there's an actual plug. I'll zoom in a second and show you. Now luckily enough, when I was saying that I didn't know what side was for which, they're actually labelled left and right on this. So all I've done is I've just mashed up the fact that this bracket goes to this one, and looking at what we've got to change. The sensor here that drops into the hub, so there's like a wee, I'm sure it's like a 6 or 7mm bolt, hides into this section, into the hub. I follow the cable right at the back, and obviously I need to take off this bolt for the anti-roll bar, or the drop link, sorry, and then swing it round, and there's just, the plug is just literally in the back there on a kind of sleeve. Just a matter of disconnecting and plugging this end back into it. So it shouldn't be too big a problem, as long as I can get this nut off and that bolt down there off. It should be an easy enough swap. So here's fingers crossed that I can get into it. Right, so this is what we are playing with. Luckily enough, when I took out the sensor out of the bag, I could actually see that even though in the bag it didn't tell you exactly where it's for, on the bracket it does. It says left hand and right hand. So obviously there's a bracket sits just here, and it's obviously I'm copying what it looks like for it to sit there. The sensor comes round, clips onto here, and then there's a 6 or 7mm bolt into this part here that goes into the hub, and it goes in for to read the ABS. Then this, if you follow the cable round into here, it clips onto this bracket, and then we've got the plug right at the back here, which obviously will be onto this new end here. So it doesn't look as if it's going to be too bad to try and disconnect everything from here and round. I might be able just to keep that bracket on by the looks of things actually. Now I'm looking at it, I might be able just to slide that off. Can we? I think we possibly can. And if that pops off there, I'll maybe just leave this bracket in place and just change the cable. That'll save me disconnecting anything from the drop link and possibly breaking it in here. Bear in mind, I'm no mechanic, this is a joiner's attempt at it, but I mean it's only a couple of bolts. If anything, just this one right here, and go for there. So let's see how it goes. Now I've just found out that the bolt is actually an 8mm, and yep, it's came off quite nicely. That's usually an absolute nightmare for me, but this is a 2017 plate Mondeo. This is quite a common fault apparently for this to happen. So 8mm bolt straight out of here. I'm not going to pull that out just right now until I can actually pull off the rest of the cables. There we go. That means I can keep that bracket in place. Switch this out. Right, so this was a nightmare to come out. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't. I had to actually stop filming before I lost my shit. There's a red clip sits right in the back inside this. It makes it really hard to disconnect. Obviously the clip, it comes right in and into here. I'll show you my clip into here. So obviously I had to pull that out with the picker, wiggle about, and eventually the sensor dropped out. So I'm hoping now that that's out, I should manage to get into everything and get everything released and pull everything out to make sure no dirt gets into where that sensor is, because that would suck ass. It might fall out the other end, but just in case it doesn't, sensor out. And old one out. New one hopefully should be fairly easy to fit. I'll plug it in the back, make sure everything's where it's meant to be. Straight in. No colours to here. I can't remember if that went on the other side. That's one thing you should always check. And I don't want it to foul it when it's on full lock or turning, so I'm going to keep it away from there. I'll probably check back the video and realise it was the other side, but that looks a bit better with the flex on it. Onto here, and then drop the sensor into position nicely. Pop. Put the 8mm back onto it. And this feels really straightforward. I took obviously the sensor off the original bracket that came with it, just so I didn't have to disconnect the drop link. I don't think it should matter too much. There's not any difference between the two. I think it's just in case this is rusted up. The biggest issue I've got is obviously the red clip at the back. It was such a hard thing to change out and try and pull out. And luckily enough, I had a wee kind of picker tool that took it off. I'm hoping I can slide the pin. You'll not see this with the camera. I should be able to slide it back into place like that, and then put the sensor back onto the kind of hanging rail that it's got down at the bottom here, out of the way so it doesn't foul anything. Last thing we want is have to replace another sensor. That would definitely suck. I mean, they're not expensive anyway, to be fair, but at the same time, if you're doing all this work and having to fork out more, it's definitely going definitely going to bother you. So that's that one all tied up and in. I'm on full lock at the moment, so I'm hoping that shouldn't foul any of this when we're turning on the opposite way. I might actually just turn it just now and check it. I'm hoping that the faults, once I've done both sides, they'll completely switch off. And I don't know if it's the passenger side or the other side, but yeah, we seem to be away from foul and everything in here, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to turn this back round onto its flat, into the straight, crack the wheel on, and then go and do the other side. So see you in a bit. So I've disconnected the plug from the back there, and it looks like this might be my problem on this side, because someone's been messing about with it, because I don't have the red clip like I should have in here, and the casing is split to this section here, and the plug, well, came out dead easy. So, and if you look inside, I don't know if you can see that, but I've just got loads and loads of dirt and crud in it. So I think someone's tried to have a clean up job of this one and then not realised how hard it is to get that pin out, or how to do it, because even I wouldn't, not that I'm a Ford mechanic, but they split all the holder. So I'm going to have to try and find a way of cleaning that up and sealing it up for putting the new sensor on. So it may look like I've just had an accident with the Mondeo, because I have got the bumper hanging right off and I've got the headlight out, and this is how you actually have to replace the headlight bulb in there. It's crazy, it's actually mind-boggling. When the headlight sits in, the crash bar, or there's a slam panel for the bonnet, sits right across from where you actually want to put this headlight bulb in. So the only way to do that is to actually disconnect the whole of the bumper in order to get the bumper forward, to get the headlight in forward enough to get into the rubber at the back, which is this, pull it off, fiddle about, pull the bulb out and get the new one in, which I haven't done yet. I'm just about to change them. Now, I didn't have a bulb out. The bulb is just standard and they're terrible. I mean, it's like a candle in a brown bottle. So I am going to change them for a set of Osram night breakers. Now these are pretty good. I've fitted them to a lot of my cars that don't have Xenons like this one, and the difference is literally night and day in it, excuse the pun. It gives this one here gives a 200% increase in the light that comes out it. So I'm going to pop it in, and then I'll button all this up, and then what I'll do is, because I did this without filming it, I'll show you what we need to do the other side to do that one, and show you how much of a pain in the arse it is just to change a headlight bulb in this. So I would suggest, although I've not done it, if you're going to do this yourself, I'd maybe change all the bulbs while you're in there, just because you don't want to be doing it twice. So, you know, change indicator bulb, change the headlight bulb, which is an H7, and then change your high beam, which is an H7 as well, in the front, and that will save you having to do it again, especially if you're not mechanically minded, especially if you don't want to put it into mechanic to get it done. I'm lucky enough I've got the lock-up, I can tinker about, but if I knew it was such a pain in the backside, I would have got all the bulbs in the hindsight, and I would have changed them all at the same time. So unlucky for me, I have to, if they go, I need to do all this rigmarole again. But we'll pop this one in, button this up, and I'll show you the other side. So what I found out you have to do, I've obviously done this, the passenger side, sorry, the driver's side. I need to do the driver's side. Now, what I found is you need to take out this bolt here. I'll tell you what tools you'll need in a second. This bolt here needs to come out. Two 10 mils here would come out. I'm sure that's a T25. Hold on, I'll just tell you while I'm working away at it. Yeah, so on this one at the front, here at the back, sorry, and this one here at the front, we are using a nice T30 Torx bit on that one, a wee rusty one for me. That gets it out pretty easy. So this comes out, this comes out. Two 10s out, and this bracket here will literally move out the way, and I stuck it out the way on top of the battery just to get it out the road. These circlips we need to come out, sorry, the trim panels. I don't have my trim panel remover, so I'm using a wee pick and just pulling it up and then just pulling the rest of it with my hands. There is ones obviously here, here, here on the plastic slam panel, two here, and these ones here are a T25 torque bit that takes that out. Once you've done that, you need to get right in to the arch here, and there's 1, 2, 3 and 4 of these trim clips as well. I literally used a pick, pulled it out as far as I could, and then when I got my fingers into it, I just pulled it out. It should be done with a trim panel remover, but I don't actually have one at the moment. I don't have it with me, it's up at the house. In below here, you'll see there's a bolt there. That's an 7mm. And then there's two trims panels clips here and one here. Now someone's obviously had this bumper off and not put them in, so they're actually quite easy to come out on this one. So just these two here would come out. And then once you've got them all taken out, it's literally a matter of, this is a clip that sits in here, slide clip. You might actually just forcing the bumper out, and it will actually pull to the side enough to let you get the headlight out. And the headlight's actually got, it's like a ball joint really that sits down in around here. But if you don't really need to use the trim panels. I've seen a couple of boys use it. If you actually hold the headlamp, top and side, and just give it a good shove this way, you'll feel it pop, and that'll be enough to let you get into the back, where obviously the headlight bulb is in here. Once you remove that rubber cover. So I'll try and film it the best I can, let you see how awkward it is. So as you can see, it looks like you just put the car into a wall once you've got everything done. But this is the craziness you need to do to get this headlight bulb out. I know this is a long-winded one, but this will save you a amount of time if you're thinking about. So obviously once you've got the bolts out, obviously the T30 that sits in there, T30 sits in there, two 10s, and obviously all your bumper clips in. These ones here, I'll show you obviously 1, 2 and 3 on this side. There's actually 4 on the other side. There's 4. And then obviously you can see how the bumper clips in to here, and just give it that tug once you've got all your bolts out from underneath, and it literally, the shell of the bumper just comes straight off. Once you've got the headlight, just give it that tug, and that's enough. You'll see the gap I've got from here to get in to where the bulb sits in this, but I've already changed it over. I've got the new bulb in. It's just a matter of me putting obviously the rubber back on and into here, which is quite fiddly. It's good to keep the moisture out on it. So it's a bit better than the ones you used to get, the plastic trims. So I'll probably fart about that once I've got my hands off the camera and get that back on. But yeah, that should be the bulb in and done dusted. So I'm just literally going to film it, button everything back up, just to show you where everything is. So once you can see just how much of a gap you need to get that headlight out. Now, I do suggest taking everything out before you do one headlight. I did one side and I literally struggled to get in there, but once I did this side, I've not buttoned up this side yet. When I undid this side, it pulled and I got right into where I want to be. So I ended up with more space, and it's actually shown that I can get more space here to work on this one again, because the shell of the bumper has moved forward. So yeah, again, it's like a trial and error, and I'm just trying to help people that want to try it themselves instead of putting it into Halfords, because the Halfords would take forever to do it. I don't even think they'll change the bulb in it, but any good mechanics would do. But if you want to tackle it yourself, what you will need is a T25. Then you'll need a T30, a 10mm for the two in the bracket. I just use a long reach because it's just a bit handier rather than smashing my knuckles off. And for the one underneath here, which literally sits at this section, you will need an 8mm. Definitely need, no, sorry, tell I 7mm. 7mm that's on that one, and then that'll get everything out. I do recommend getting yourself some panel clip removers, trim removers. I do have a set. I literally didn't realise I needed them, and I've left them back at the garage at the house. So I will have to bring them down here. So if I do this again, at least I know I've got them. The pick I used did the job. None of the clips broke, which was good. I'm pulling out the pin and then just getting the old mittens, the old hand pliers into it and pulling it out, and away they go. So that's my rough tutorial on how to change the headlight bulbs in this Mondeo Mark 5. I decided to put in the Osram night breakers, simply because this isn't a Xenon headlight, it's not the dynamic ones. They should make a big difference on it. I fitted them to my own, my green Mondeo. I fitted them to my dad's Mondeo. So I thought, you know what, I might as well put them into here, because the standard bulbs in these headlights are absolutely horrendous. So it's hard to see in here, but they look so much brighter, lighting up the cosy over there. Yep, like and subscribe. I'm not going to do loads of tutorials, but I thought, you know what, let's give it a go and we'll see what goes on with this one. But yeah, until the next time, take it easy.